Paul, this is Brian Brenberg. The defense that's given by many of the sanctuary cities is that they're not enforcing these federal laws because they think it creates better environment for working with immigrant communities in their area. And so they're making a case that it actually makes their communities safer. You're a former sheriff. You're on the ground in these things. Talk about whether that's really true, that not enforcing these laws actually makes the area safer, creates better relationship with these immigrant communities.
It's a false argument. And this is the case in point. Look what it's done. It's created these, it's just like these gun-free, safe school zones. What has it done? It's created this false sense of security. It's the same thing here with these sanctuary policies. It's created lawlessness, and it's not all the illegals. It's those criminal illegals that we're talking about, is allow our local, county, state law enforcement to work with our federal partners. I did as a local sheriff, and it further protected and improved the safety of the public. That's what we should be about here, and we shouldn't have to be fighting these officials to protect their own citizens.
I mean, what is it going to take for cities and states to actually abide by the federal government? You know, this has completely sparked the debate over sanctuary cities. Sure. Last night, Attorney General Jeff Sessions condemned San Francisco's immigration policy in the wake of this verdict, calling her death preventable. So what are the wider implications for immigration, Danielle, following this verdict?
We need to punish overstayers more. We need to make sure that people don't get in 5 times. Mr. Garcia Zarate had been in prison for about 46 months prior for the last deportation, and then was sent up to San Francisco on a 20-year-old drug charge. That was pointless. The charge was dropped, and then he was let out back on the streets. We have to look at all facets of Border Patrol. That includes, you know, what we use for technology, for drones, for more security. Obviously, the wall is a big question. We still have about 1,300 miles that is not secured by a physical barrier. Visa overstayers. Since 2014, the largest group of illegal immigrants in this country came here legally on visas and overstayed. This has to be multifaceted and it has to be bipartisan. We nearly got there.
What will change this is people leaving these cities because they're sick of local politicians sacrificing the rights of the many for the so-called rights of the few who should not be in this country in the first place.
And
That's what will change.
How do you justify this? I mean, how do you justify that?
They don't. They do it through political means. What they say is
those who should not be here, who are committing crimes over the people who are constituents and Americans.
Who were funding the actual cities.
Right,
who were paying taxes and funding the cities.
I don't understand how you justify that.
Look at Bill de Blasio, right? I mean, if he was saying he's going to defend illegal aliens who get DUIs. I mean, get out of here. I mean, the problem is they're making it political, and they're the defenders of these poor people who, woe is me. Listen, it is a privilege to be here, not a right.
That's right.
I couldn't agree more. I will say that Center for American Progress came out with a study. Sanctuary cities don't have higher crime rates than non-sanctuary cities. So there are large police chief organizations who say that actually this does work.
So you're saying sanctuary cities do not have higher crime rates?
With very few exceptions, sanctuary cities do not have higher crime rates than non-sanctuary cities. And this is, ironically, a federalism argument, right? Actually, normally that liberals rail against the idea that we should have a very limited federal government and that we should let the states do their own thing. So we're kind of getting a bit of crisscrossing, like the deficit with taxes. So we have to understand that there are certainly partisan vehicles and movements here, but we have to look at the facts, we have to look at the data, and we have to... Rule of law means that if this man was charged and the jury couldn't get there, that's the rule of law. So, you know, we have to... I know this is a horrible case. Horrible cases make bad law. We need to fix this problem. But this was a problem that started with him being sent to San Francisco in the first place, and clearly him breaking the laws of this country.
It started with an unsecured border. I've had illegals in my county that have been deported 21 times. And the fact, people forget that in law enforcement, when we catch somebody, that wasn't the first time that they committed that crime. So Zarate breaking into our country 6 times and committing other crimes, there's likely lots of other things that this guy is a criminal being here unlawfully, and then all of a sudden this attorney on your show and others are making excuses that a gun just happened to be in his hand that was stolen from a federal agent and is discharged and murders somebody. Enough of these liberal excuses from San Francisco and California, and don't scratch your head wondering why this 32-year-old girl is dead in the arms of the father on a crowded pier.
to be clear, though, as Danielle just noted, this is what the jury ruled last night, Paul. So that
true.
is...
And so many people are supporting this, and with all types of other arguments, and it's enough of this.
We will leave it there. Paul Babeu, Danielle McLaughlin, good to see you both. Thank you so much.